Hey guys, thank you for joining me today on Godspot. I want to talk to you about the power of a conversation. In Matthew 16, verse 13, when Jesus came into the region of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, "Who do men say that I, the Son of Man, am?" Now, this is a really interesting question that Jesus would propose to his disciples. I mean, even the idea that he dared to ask what were their thoughts about who he was. In other words, was he the Son of God? Did they have a revelation of who he was? But Jesus did this because he understood the power of a conversation. And what's really interesting, the disciples even then felt safe enough to talk about who they thought he was. Now, Jesus spoke to the obnoxious Pharisees who thought they had all the answers about religion. He called out Zacchaeus, a rich, corrupt tax collector hiding in a tree, and spoke to him. He initiated a conversation with a woman at a well who intentionally went to the well when no one else was there because she was a reject of society. And he even started a conversation with a woman caught in adultery who had been thrown on the street. Because Jesus understood the power of a conversation. Now, conversations hold immense power and can enhance our lives in so many different ways. Conversations help us to form new connections and strengthen existing ones. They help us to learn and bring new understanding. They provide us an opportunity to explore different perspectives, and conversations can also help us solve problems and unleash our creativity. What I'm trying to say is conversation is the lifeblood of our relationships, and it helps us to bond with other people and to grow. So there are a number of benefits we have when we hold a conversation, a good conversation. Number one, conversation and well-being are obviously linked together because conversations are a gateway to learn about ourselves and about other people. And talking about how we feel and our thoughts can help boost our confidence, reduce stress, and also help us connect with other people as well. Secondly, getting the timing right. It's important that when you're having a conversation, it needs to be at the right time, especially if it's around a sensitive issue. We need to think about the other person, what's best for them, and this can help us create a far more suitable setting for the conversation, especially looking for a positive outcome. Another thing that we can unpack with number three is be present. The key to a great conversation is being in the moment. And mobile technology can sometimes extremely distract us for both ourselves and the person we're talking with. And so we've got to learn that if we're going to be empathetic, we need to put down our devices and be in the moment and be in that conversation. Another thing we need to do is be empathetic. Empathy is our ability to sense other people's emotions and understand how they may be feeling. And it's about seeing things from another person's perspective and imagining ourselves in their position. I'm not going to say a lot about that because I already talked about that changing your perspective can change your life. And you can only do that when you put yourself in someone else's shoes. We also, if we're going to move forward and have a good conversation, we need to listen actively. Listening is one of the most powerful and constructive ways that you can engage in a great conversation. When we practice active listening, we listen with purpose and a deep desire to really want to hear what someone else is saying, try to understand. Another thing is challenging assumptions and being curious. We all hold unconscious beliefs and biases, and this is triggered by the brain making quick judgments and assessments of people and their situations. To be good at holding a great conversation, you need to be constantly aware of and be willing to have our biases challenged by people and stereotyping, that we're willing to listen to them and be curious and understand why they believe and think the way they do. Another thing that makes a good conversation is respect silence, being comfortable with pauses in a conversation and allowing a moment of silence can also communicate acceptance of how the other person may be in that given moment. Another thing is checking for understanding. It doesn't hurt to repeat when you're listening to them and say things like, is what I'm saying clear enough, or is it a bit confusing? I'm not sure if I'm being clear. What are you hearing when I talk to you? Or what is your understanding of what I just shared with you? But let me say this in closing. Real life connections and conversations are important because they provide us with a sense of belonging and support. And great conversations help us feel better connected to others and even to the world around us. So my challenge to you today other than hit the like button and share it with someone else, is go out into the world and begin a conversation that really matters. And you never know what positive impact you can make on someone else's life. This is the Power of Conversation. Scott from Godspot. Have a great day. Thanks for listening.